In the last few weeks, the Nanny Solution has posted 3 six-figure nanny positions with salaries ranging from $90,000, almost 6 figures, all the way up to $160,000. Of course, nannies have been flocking to apply to these positions. For each position, we have had well over 50 applicants. There have been some amazing nannies applying. Golf clap to those of you who've been amazing, with extensive resumes and amazing education and background in childcare and personal development, just so many things. Amazing nannies, and I love to see the dedication to the field. There have also been a lot of nannies applying who don't meet the requirements. And of those 50 nannies, only about 1% of those nannies get put forward to the family. So what's the difference between a nanny who gets put forward and a nanny who doesn't? And we all know education and childcare background is really important, but there's also on top of that a whole bunch of little things that we look at the agency when deciding who to put forward and who to turn down. So let's go through a few of the things that we look for at the agency when deciding who to put forward for these six-figure jobs. If we haven't met before, I'm Michelle Kelsey, founder of the Nanny Solution by Nannies on Call. Each week, I bring you new videos to educate and inspire you to get better jobs, make more money, and become respected in your field. Let's dive right into these six-figure jobs. In no particular order, these things all hold the same amount of weight. Number 1 on the list today is attention to detail. This is incredibly important because the families who are hiring for six-figure positions require a lot of attention to detail. So when I'm interviewing and screening nannies and deciding who to send to these positions, I'm looking for nannies who've read the job description and read it and read it and read it. And when there are specific questions or things we'd like you to answer in that job description, if you don't answer those when applying, that's the first step in weeding nannies out. So we're really looking for nannies who've read the job description, have a high attention to detail. If we ask you to attach a resume, attach a reference letter, those are all things we're looking to be done in step number 1. Last week, I had a nanny who sent an email about how she was perfect for the job and that she had attached her references, and she didn't attach the references. And I know we're all humans and humans make mistakes, but when you're up against the cream of the crop and the top nannies in the field, you have to be that top nanny from the get-go. So unfortunately, those are the nannies with the little things that we see. Attention to detail is really important from step 1. The next thing actually has nothing to do with the nannies. It has to do with the clients. Are we interviewing for Kim Kardashian or are we interviewing for Kate Middleton? It makes a difference, right? It makes a difference in the type of nanny we're going to send. So sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. You might have the best background and the best education and the most detail-oriented person, because that's the one thing we've gone over so far, but it just doesn't matter, because if you're very proper and strict, and that's one kind of family, and if you're casual and laid back, that's another kind of family. So the more we get to know you at the agency, the more we make those decisions right off the bat. Sometimes you just can't help it. And just like every family is looking for the right nanny, it's really important for the nannies to be looking for the right families as well. So as an agency, if we tell you you're not a good fit for the family and explain why, that should lead you just to try and apply for the next position that comes your way. At the agency, we're really screening for the family on their behalf. We're speaking for them based on what we know from the family's instructions. So sometimes it has nothing to do with you, and it's best just to take the feedback and move on to the next position. This is a big one. Don't wait to get training. What we saw in the last couple of weeks is a lot of nannies who said, oh, they're looking for a newborn care specialist. Okay, I'll take the course before I start. That's not enough. These families are looking for nannies who've got their training and put it to use. So having the training is great, but then having the experience after taking the training. We're looking for nannies who got their newborn care specialist certificates, maybe the early childhood education certificates, any kind of training. We're looking for the nannies who already have it, not the nannies who say, if I get this job, I will get it. Being prepared and proactive, if this is the kind of job you want to go after, is the best way there. Along the same lines is additional training. When we're looking at nannies and who to send, we're looking for nannies who don't just have the newborn care specialist training and their education degrees, their bachelor educations, but maybe we're looking for nannies who've been swimming coaches, gymnastics coaches, who have nutrition degrees, who have naturopathic medicine experience, whatever it is, because all of these things, it's not true for all families, but a lot of families look for these different skills. If you've been a ski instructor in the past, those are all great things. If a family goes to the chalet all winter and you can take their kids skiing, that will be a plus. So all of these different skills that you might have that can add to your nanny experience but don't necessarily directly tie in are fantastic to have on your resume. So we're screening for those things based on what the family is looking for and what the family has told us they want. Now this one's a little bit more difficult and people often ask, well, how am I supposed to get there if you won't give me a chance? But in these $100,000 plus jobs, it's often a multi-staffed household. So we're not just talking about a nanny and that's the only person in the household. We're talking about households who have nannies and drivers and chefs and personal trainers and multiple nannies. Sometimes you're working in a home with 2 and 3 nannies where each child has their own nanny. We're looking for nannies who've had that experience in the past, and I know it can be difficult to get, but sometimes at a slightly lower wage, there are housekeepers in the home or people who come in and cook the meals. Whatever it is, you don't have to go from a 1 staffed household to a multi 5-person staffed household or more. You can start incrementally and work in a house where there's a housekeeper that works full-time alongside you, or a chef that comes in a couple times a week. That's gaining experience of having to deal in a multi-staffed household. Okay, this is a really big one and it's one of the biggest ones, and maybe I should have finished with this one, but we still have a couple more points after this. How you treat the agency staff matters. I can't tell you how many nannies are rude to staff at our agency, are disrespectful. Even last week, when a nanny didn't show up for an interview, I told them that unfortunately we couldn't work with them for this it was a $160,000 job. I told them that we could not work with them because they didn't show up for the interview with us, and that the concern would be in the future they couldn't keep their commitments to the family. And they said to me, I would never do that to the family. I got delayed, I couldn't change it, and therefore I was late for my interview with you, but I would never do that to the family. What I told her is, we are the family. When you're interviewing with us, we are representing the family, and they have asked us to do the screening for them. We're looking for nannies who are respectful when dealing with us, who communicate with us very well. If I call you and you call right back, if you're responsive, these are all things that are really important to the families and therefore really important to the agency on behalf of the families. We make sure the nannies have all these qualities and are doing them naturally. It's not, when I get to this job, I will behave that way. It's, do you do these things already on your own without being told? These are the little things that we're looking for and testing all the time to see how nannies respond and to decide if they're a good fit for these 6-figure positions. Okay, we just have a couple more to go through. References. This is a constant problem for nannies at all levels. If you are applying for these high-profile 6-figure jobs, you must be able to get references. If you've been a nanny for the last 10, 15, 20 years and you could only give me 2 references, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for these families. We are looking for nannies who have contact and have kept in contact and have reference details for multiple families that they've worked with all the way back through their resume. It's just what we're looking for. We have to be able to verify past experience, and it's really important. So keep in contact with your references, whether it's great now with social media, right? After you've left jobs, you can connect through Facebook. If they move, change phone numbers, you'll still have contact with them. So hopefully you can keep in contact with these past families. Long-lasting jobs. A lot of the families we're working with, especially right now, these 3 jobs, are looking for nannies who will stay with them long term. So when I'm scanning your resume, I'm looking for jobs that are long jobs, a year, 2 years, 10 years, that's what I'm looking for. Of course, if you're an NCS or you've been a doula or you've taken temporary jobs, that might explain the constant rotation of jobs. But these families want to see the nannies can stay with them long term and they're going to be committed to their family. I have a bonus tip for you. These jobs are really demanding. I know I've said it already, and it's not a job for everyone. So before you start applying for these jobs, if you haven't had one in the past and haven't worked for a six-figure family or a high-profile family, ask yourself, is this the right job for me? Am I willing to do what the job description says, give up my life, work long hours, commit to this family long-term? These are things you really want to ask yourself before applying for these jobs, because they seem like the perfect job, and who wouldn't want to make $160,000 a year? But money is not everything, and you have to ask yourself that before applying for these jobs. And if you're looking for more information on high-profile jobs, click this video right here, and we will see you next Saturday. Bye.